So the Fnaf Movie 2 dropped and absolutely no one is talking about it. This one doesn't only have MatPat, but it also has... Okay, maybe it doesn't have anyone else. A while ago, I dropped a video about Peak Fiction, the real Fnaf movie, unlike that fake one that didn't have Markiplier and also made over $300 million. But this one has an A-Wants to Battle, Markiplier, and MatPat. While all you children flock to the movie acting like you knew Scott since he was in the mud, I'm talking the Desolate Hope era. I decided to shed light on the real Fnaf movie. You know, it doesn't have a movie budget. At least it made it clear from the start it was going to be a very goofy experience. Look at the little guys. I think the Fnaf musical is a great relic of Fnaf fandom history. Getting Markiplier and Matt in the same video, a musical nonetheless, is like Deadpool and Wolverine meeting on the silver screen. No freaking way. There's also Nate Wants to Battle, who I genuinely think should be in the top 5 Fnaf musical artist conversation. At least it didn't touch kids. Random Encounters, the people behind the musical, did a really good job with it. I mean, considering they started their career doing stuff like this since the emoji era of YouTube, I say a Fnaf musical was always good in their hands. That's actually crazy to think about. Their channel has seen it all. I did a video on the first movie in the Random Encounters cinematic universe, and since then they dropped a couple Random Plus series to extend the RECU. Blood and Tears, basically Loki. Ground Zero, WandaVision. Web of Lies, basically She-Hulk. The Monster in Your Head, Miss Marvel. But the Avengers Age of Ultron is Dark Remains, and man, if you know your Marvel movies, you know what that means for the quality of this musical. And I liked Age of Ultron. Here's a quick cliff notes of what I thought of the original musical. I thought it was funny. The musical notes were, they were alright.
I gotta tell you, it was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
And oddly, the writing was actually pretty decent. It was better written than it actually needed to be. Yeah, the big twist was predictable, but at the same time, with all the material they needed to cover, they did a really good job. It was very creative. You could tell by the behind the scenes that the crew had a lot of fun working on the musical, and the effort put into set design, costuming, and props are high tier considering just exactly what they were making. Not many people can brag they got Markiplier for their YouTube video. Not even Mr. Beast could do that. Every single part of the original musical was flawless and nothing short of a display of creative genius, at least as far as it goes for a Fnaf musical. But does The Dark Remains hold up as a proper sequel to such a masterpiece? But even before I get into that conversation, I must address an elephant in the room. They didn't like my last video. I'd like to thank Random Encounters for helping me out in that video, because even though I forgot when they scripted and edited it, it'd be unfair for them not to grab their share of the profit from it. First, the greedy small YouTubers. So I can't actually show you the musical numbers in this one. I know, a crazy statement to make in a video about a musical, right? And I can't just plug a Patreon because I genuinely think I don't offer anything worth paying a subscription for, and sponsorship seems to be out the window too. So, I just did what I could. But before we get into that, let's do our homework, because just like Disney Plus shows, we have to watch the mini content for the main ones to make sense. So let's do that. Without further ado, let's get to the kills. We start with a production card, and this looks like a scene straight out of Lethal Company. He comes in with this flashlight, scans the area for scrap, and here's the bracket in the other room. The security guard scurries out of the scene, making way for our main character, a woman! Unlike the animatronics from the first musical, Baby isn't a marketable sock puppet. I suppose this would be a creative decision to make this solo of a song seem more emotional than goofy. That makes you wonder, is Baby's D1 athlete-sized bandmates the same as well? Who's Laura played by Sydney Sweeney? While Baby is singing her song, the night guard comes back for the extra scrap. He has to meet quota. He somehow doesn't notice the canonically 7-foot tall animatronic that was just singing a few moments ago. Like seriously, the Lakers need a center. While the night guard is gone, Baby continues yapping off about blood and tears. Wait, that's the title of the video. Don't worry, Baby, we are the blood and tears.
Say that again?
Anyways, Baby is tweaking out and the entire room will suffer. Ain't no song gotta have you be doing all this. The night guard returns, catching Baby doing the mannequin challenge in 2024, and she's just like, crashes out. No. Wait. Luckily, he's saved by the bell as it hits 6 a.m. and Baby's DualShock 4 controller disconnects. The animatronics are crashing out, bro. This shop is not worth the abysmal wages.
Damn. That's crazy. But this position just opened up at another equally dangerous location, and I was wondering if you still wanted to stack some bread.
Why would I still work there? Have you been listening?
Markiplier's gonna be there.
I'll be there in 5. So he leaves the location, grabbing his purple hoodie, and would you look at that? Is that continuity? No freaking way! So yeah, that means Blood and Tears is a prequel, which I think lines up with the actual game, you know, since it's sister location. I kinda stopped caring about the lore when people were genuinely debating sister location. You know, the game with T-800s walking around was before the vintage era of FNAF 1. I'm gonna say it. The FNAF lore isn't very good. So that means Blood and Tears is before the FNAF musical, and AJ worked at Baby Circus World before going to Freddy's. What does this mean? I don't know. This entry in the Random Encounter cinematic universe wasn't the greatest in my opinion. It just doesn't have that campy, wacky nature of the original musical. The originals were more fun, while at certain points taking itself mildly seriously. This one is just taking itself too seriously. And after previously being spoiled by 3 celebrity cameos, an actually decent plot and memorable songs, it was always going to be hard for this one to stand out next to the Fnaf musical. But man, does this underdeliver. Blood and Tears was meant to sow the seeds for what was to come, so this is more of a necessary stepping stone so that Baby can make her Marvel cameo in The Dark Remains. But we got a couple more musicals to get before that, so... The next Disney Plus show is Ground Zero, starring CG5, who's essentially the Weezer of YouTube musical artists. He's like AGR, but I guess slightly better. He plays Mike, waking up to a call. He's presented with the obligation of working a 9 to 5. Oh, the horrors. He's been promoted to one of the elite employees and has the honor of opening up his own store. But like any dead-end establishment, you need a cast of washed-up employees that will work for pennies. This is pretty much just Pizzaria Simulator. I mean, it's in the title. And oh my god, they're back! It's only really for a Marvel cameo, as they don't really have any real speaking roles, but we also get to see new animatronics like the Trash Gang and the Mediocre Melodies. Wait, is that Springtrap? Wait a second.
Flashback. End of flashback.
This is a prequel! Instead of fitting this into the Random Encounter cinematic universe timeline, they decided to just shove every new part of the musical to the back of it. So basically, everything from now on is a prequel. Still will wish they could write this good. Much like the actual Pizzaria Simulator, the crippling reality of owning a business is at the forefront of the experience. CG5 gets hit with a bunch of lawsuits, and it's probably Random Encounters forgetting this is their own musical and sending a copyright claim mid-video. And if that isn't enough, Phone Guy hits him up on the phone talking about some nonsense about buying a whole ass COD loadout.
Hey, make sure to buy a chainsaw and a flamethrower. This will make sense later.
Hey, I see what you're doing. You're trying to remind us that this is in fact the prequel. You don't have to spoon feed the audience. We're not that dumb. But this has a peaceful resolution, as he's able to scrape enough money to build his ideal Fazbear. Well, that's until the bite of 87. Yeah, CG5 just fucking dies. That's how it ends. Then we have this wrap up where Phone Guy comes to see the scene, and to really cement this was a prequel, you know, to really make sure anyone with 2 working brain cells could understand, he picks up the phone, ringing the line of someone familiar.
Yo, Nate, I'm gonna need you to come on a retirement. We have a musical to shoot.
This one was far more better than Blood and Tears on almost every level. Blood and Tears seemed to me like a ship in a bottle episode. It felt like the entire musical took place in a box. I mean, most of them actually do. But in Ground Zero, we had multiple sets and multiple set pieces. And it was cool seeing the animatronics come back, even if it was the equivalent of a Marvel cameo. We got a celebrity lead. CG5 is no Markiplier, but it's cool to see them going back to the roots with casting people who are big in the FNAF scene. Thinking back to its roots, this one takes itself far less seriously than the last one, so for that, it's going on the fridge. Right above Blood and Tears, but below the FNAF musical, because I've yet to see anything that surpassed it. But keep trying, sport. Next installment of the series is Web of Lies, and this one already has something great in store. John Game Theory himself reprises his role as Phone Guy, and you've seen FNAF musical lore enthusiasts may be wondering how a dangerous criminal such as PG got out of jail. Well, if you've been taking your notes, you know this comes before the FNAF musical. The slate's been wiped clean. This is new lore. It's never been seen before. The Health Inspector has MatPat on trial. Unlike the FNAF universe, it seems the people of this world are not incredibly incompetent. The Inspector knows what's up, and he has the documents to prove that something fishy is going on in the establishment. An immediate shutdown is on the horizon, and that can't happen until the Board of Public Safety does a house tour of Freddy's and deems the establishment unsafe. Mr. Afton knows he's cooked, so instead of fleeing for the hills, he decides he can pin all these incidents and disasters on someone else. A certain broken animatronic named Foxy the Pirate, which doesn't make any sense since Foxy is his property. He would still be at fault. Don't think too hard about it. His employee, Lizzie, has backed up the database to Afton's dismay, and he makes it clear that he wants every bit of personal information and recounted events of the Fazbear name to be gone, reduced to atoms. Send it straight to FNAF Plus. Lizzie knows something is up, so while she pretends to work on this graphics card, she comes to a realization. All the Freddy files are in the storage room with her, and her curiosity cannot help her from just snooping around. Because the plot needed to move, conveniently the computer turns on, searching the database for her missing brother, Michael Afton. The animatronics set up an Among Us lobby because Foxy is missing. They quickly deduce that Phone Guy has snatched up Foxy. And look at this, bro quite literally just took him. The animatronics set off to go find Foxy, but unbeknownst to them, a new antagonist is watching for the security room. While the animatronic gang searches for the keys to Foxy's cage, Lizzie is fiddling around with the secret file and ends up installing a zip bomb into the computer. A zip bomb so bad it manifests into the real world, manifesting into one of the most terrifying villains in FNAF franchise history. It's Glitchtrap, isn't it? The killer AI, Glitchtrap, escapes from the confines of his prison, the Fnaf franchise.
What kind of place is this?
Also, where did he come from? He was just there. Bro literally just spawned in. And his goons turned out to be the Trash Gang, and they're not pleased to see Lizzie replacing the role of Markiplier. They also weren't pleased with Freddy and the gang existing. Back with Team Freddy, they did manage to retrieve the keys to Foxy's prison, but they then proceed to lose the 3v8 against sentient pieces of trash. I'd lose to some Redditors too. After the dispatching of Team Freddy, they set up an improvised saw trap for Lizzie. Her head is dangling over the shredder and she manages to get free just in the nick of time. She then proceeds to single-handedly solo the opposition. She flees the scene, rushing to a back room, and like a video game, the window was highlighted as a viable option to escape from. But there was no escape for the animatronics. The mediocre melodies made a swift end as Pigpatch is shanked and turned into bacon, and Orville is crushed under a door. And I don't know who this is supposed to be, but yeah, he gets forward. They're able to free Foxy. Somehow. I'm not entirely sure how the puppet swiped the keys from Mr. Hugs because he rolled over them, so we're led to believe that in this short moment, Charlie was able to swipe the keys from him. For all we know, there could have been a prompt on the screen that said press E to steal. It doesn't matter because the reality is that they're down 3 animatronics, and Glitchtrap decides to make that 4. Killing the main gang would be too easy, especially since the contract they signed was a 5 musical deal. So instead, he does something worse. He sends them to Amazon Returns. I don't mean to be a hater, but this theme at the end is better than the entire musical. Ah, that's all you get. It wasn't even bad. I just think the bias to the past musicals has set such a standard that I find it really hard to appreciate the numbers in this one. Also, it's really hard to talk about the musical in general because of certain level YouTubers who may or may not have preloaded my copyright claim. There was a magic with the original that random encounters haven't exactly recaptured yet, but Weevil is the best attempt so far. Madbat has been dragged out of retirement to reprise his role despite his death in the original installment, and we know what you're asking. Yes, he will be playing Dr. Doom as well, but the new elements added really didn't interest me. Not even the Freddy cast felt entertaining this time around. The inclusion feels like a nothing burger to the plot, even though they're one half of it. It's like a cameo without the substance, but instead of taking place in a post-credit scene, it's the whole movie. That's not to say the writing in this one was particularly bad. It just seems like they had an obligation to use Glitchtrap while also touching on the new lore that happened after the musical concluded. So in Hollywood terms, they wrote this one to appease some shareholders who needed another tax write-off. It's like the Fnaf creepypasta. It fell into the same thing where new games would come out and they only made more parts out of an obligation, even though the game started to contradict the lore they had established for their story. Where Mr. Creepypasta and his crew quit while they were ahead and just ended their storyline at 3, as it should be, but random encounters persisted and arguably had a harder era of FNAF lore to adapt to their own story. Unlike the FNAF creepypasta, which pretty much ended at Stitch's location, Ari had to cover the rest of the franchise's horrible storytelling. And the way they did it definitely won't win you any writing awards, but it's definitely better than writing yourself into a corner. I don't mean to be too harsh. I know when it comes to the FNAF fandom specifically, any sort of criticism seems to be a warrant to go ballistic, but I've seen random encounters do better. This isn't better. It's just, you know, good. It's the best one we've seen so far, and it's definitely better than Monster in Your Head, which, speaking of, if you thought everything else before seemed like filler, this is the worst offender. And you know what's funny? It's probably the most important entry so far. You may be wondering how that works, and the words of miserable Twitter users, media literacy. So we have Vanessa. Almost. This is Eggs Benedict. I'm sure you FNAF lore enthusiasts probably just did a spit take. She's yet another unimportant Fazbear employee, not much different than her actual character in the games. You see, X is off the clock. She wasn't scheduled to be at Fazbear's today. She isn't here for overtime pay. She's here because she wants to replace the animatronics. Parents and adults alike are complaining that the current roster, which is never really specified, but you have to assume it's the FNAF 1 cast despite this being a security breach musical, are too creepy. So Eggs takes it upon herself to design her own animatronics. And no, it isn't the glam rocks, the mediocre melodies, or even the toy animatronics. With the materials at her disposal, she couldn't even hope to create something as aesthetically pleasing as those options. No, with the trash around the office, she cobbles together the lovable Trash Gang. Yes, Vanessa, not, is the creator of the Trash Gang, the same Trash Gang that has been tormenting the story, which means Vanessa, not, killed CG5. Because if we go back to ground zero, there was a part I was reluctant to show you. The animatronics are questioning who killed the popular writer, singer, artist CG5. Cheek is like, why did you do that, Foxy? Me! Unbeknownst to them, the culprit of such a vicious attack is still in the room. Now you may be wondering, what could make her love children so mad? Originally, there was not a single thought on their brains, or lack thereof. They weren't even sentient. The source of their vindictive nature, the pure hatred within them came from an outside force. An outside force tied to Vanessa. Not. For most of you, it should be obvious, but for the people auto-playing this in the back, it's the other equally disliked bunny theme antagonist in the series. Vanny. The musical is not about fake Vanessa, no, and an actually cool reveal, it's shown that she isn't even the one singing. This is about Vanny, and what Vanny wants are those animatronics. Miss Benedict has been playing into her velvety hands, and immediately after finishing putting the animatronics together, the phone guy walks in at her with the worst animatronic designs of all time.
What is this?
You know, I was just...
If you think it couldn't get any worse for her, Vanny decides that X has had too much screen time, so she retires it from the story immediately. Honestly, I originally said this was the worst out of the filler episodes, I'm counting as Blood and Tears, Ground Zero, and this one. But after re-listening to it for my final thoughts, this one low-key might be the best one. Yes, this is another ship in a bottle episode, and it does have a cameo from Phone Guy, which isn't that important this time around. He pretty much just comes up and is like, what the fuck is this? You better get your act together before I stuff you in a suit. Wink wink. Did I mention my name is John Purple Guy, by the way? Now that I have established media literacy, this one is the most important out of the filler episodes. Initially when I watched this to catch up, it just seemed like they did Vanny out of an obligation rather than a necessity for the plot, but she does become an important character later on. The Monster Within wasn't the most interesting out of the 3 fillers, but it makes up for that by adding necessary context of what is to come. Its appreciation may be hard to find in its first initial viewing, but once you watch everything else and come back to it retrospectively, you start to find the meaning behind it. God, this is a musical about Fnaf. Why am I genuinely analyzing this? Let's get into it. After the dispatching of Team Freddy, they set up an improvised saw trap for Lizzie. Her head is dangling over the shredder and she manages to get free just in the nick of time. She then proceeds to single-handedly solo the opposition. She flees the scene, rushing to a back room, and like a video game, the window is highlighted as a viable option to escape from. Like in Levon and Dead by Daylight, Lizzie manages to escape the terrors of Fazbear's, and in true Final Girl fashion is able to make it to her car. But sticking to the writings of modern horror, or horror just in general, as luck would have it, she doesn't have her keys on her and the killer is right on her trail. Oh, last we saw of BB was this. Balloon Boy has brought Lizzie her keys, hoping she'd take him with her. He wants to be nowhere near this musical, just like Lizzie. But Lizzie knows better than to pick up strangers, so she politely denies BB access to her car. But the robot is just as annoying as he is in the game. It's either Lizzie runs him over or she lets him ride shotgun. He's getting out of this musical one way or the other. And if it were up to me, I would have just ran him over, but unfortunately Lizzie ain't me. She quickly realizes the fault in bringing Balloon Boy home as he's already annoying the shit out of her, but Balloon Boy knows something she doesn't. Communicating through her computer via 5G, he shows Lizzie that the person who could solve all of this is John Monster in Your Head herself, Vanessa not in the flesh. And after looking at the post-game interview after miraculously surviving the Vanny sneak attack, he deduced the person they should be looking for is the aforementioned Vanny. Back at Fazbear's, Glitchtrap is talking to himself. Technically. Talking isn't the right word here though, because it's hating.
Your shoes, whack. Your style, whack. Your game, whack. You're a freak. But fortunately for you, I could use a freak of your talents.
Yo! Continuing the mood of hating, Glitchtrap tells the squad to lock in because Lizzie clutching up the match with a hatch escape wasn't a part of the plan. His entourage of sentient pieces of trash are too stunned to get his Dead by Daylight references, so he puts it in Fortnite terms instead and sends Bucket Bob back to the lobby. Send him straight to Fnaf Plus. Elsewhere, in the same establishment actually, you know that scout meme with him coming to open the fridge and his mood instantly changing? Yeah, that's pretty much what MatPat did here. Foxy is nowhere to be seen, and his only logical conclusion is that the inspector had something to do with it. So of course the only way to sort this out is by putting the health inspector on a shirt. Oh man, I sure do love being alive. Do you know what happened to Fnaf Plus? What? No, wait. Glitchtrap is on that same timing as his methods to convert Springtrap to his side has a high fatality rate. But really torching him isn't enough. He needs to waterboard him. He gives Springtrap 2 options. Join him or be vored by a trash can. Springtrap is feeling kinky, but Charlie ain't letting Springtrap go out this easily. The puppet has been watching from the rafters, and once Glitchtrap is no longer in the room, she sends Mr. Can Do straight to Fnaf Plus, freeing the murder bunny from his prison. John, Blood and Tears herself, notices a box turn up in her enclosure, and inside it's the Freddy cast. So pretty much after some exposition, we learn that Circus Baby Party World is this testing facility where they test in the facility. If there's somehow an overlap between FNAF fans and the boys fans, it's essentially that place where they tortured Kid Homelander to see his limit. The gang is like, why don't you just leave? No one's gonna stop a 7-foot tall animatronic with a Roadhog hook pre-built inside them. Baby tells them, like Nicodville Avocado, they're 2 steps ahead. They install a chip just in case she escaped and got picked up by an NBA talent scouter, that her circuitry would fry the moment she steps outside the room. The Freddy gang is like, damn, that's crazy. Anyways, I'ma head out. And Baby's like, nope, they got y'all to you. And then the Freddy gang's like, what? And then Baby sings about it. I didn't play the lead up to this, but this is like the most I feel a song coming on moment I've ever seen in anything. Shut up. But Baby does have a way to bypass this plot inconvenience, and it's by frying them. I find it hard to believe that Bonnie just didn't fucking die. By overcharging their circuits, they will have enough power to just straight up bypass the effects of the chip and ignore their 6 a.m. shutoff protocol. All they had to do after was just simply sneak out. And it would have been easier said than done if the people weren't incredibly incompetent. This scientist gets his ankles broken by a box and not only gets his identification snatched, but locked in the room with Baby. Everyone else, you're just gonna have to hang up the jersey on this one. How do you get fooled by the 3 people with a trench coat in 2024? Right, literally the oldest trick in the book. Without any issue, somehow, the Freddy crew manages to make it to the elevator. May I stress again, without issue. Look at bro's fit! Nah, I'm not gonna do you like that. You think this was all some dream, right? Did they really escape that easily? And are they ordering a pizza now?
Hey, can I get a boneless pizza?
Freddy, it is 2024 and you're talking about some boneless pizza.
That's the only kind we make.
Is that Markiplier? The views must have been getting low. They sensed this video coming out months in advance. Is that my phone? Excuse me, guys. I should probably take this. Hello?
Heard you was talking shit.
Is this random encounters?
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to lower your tone. Watch this.
Is that Nate too? Yo, they should add MatPat next. Oh. Okay, so basically Phone Guy cuts off his hands because he couldn't have killed the inspector and made a goddamn bomb without hands, could he? Your Honor, I rest my case. Back with the animatronics, they find the phone to order a raisins and ketchup pizza?
Get back, I think I'm gonna vomit!
This war crime isn't without reason. There's a master plan to unfold. After Foxy does a little prank by pushing this comically large red button, they scurry outside the facility. I'm sure that little prank didn't do much. Oh my goodness, who pressed the comically large red button that conveniently resets Baby's protocol chip? You called? Wait, Baby, please don't send me the Fnaf Plus. No! The animatronics seek their way into Nate's car, and unknown to him, he once again becomes the Uber driver for a bunch of puppets. Remember when I said the Phone Guy scenes and the glitch trap scenes were literally happening in the same place? Boom, crossover. Bro picks him up like that one panel from Bleach, had him looking like this. EMS Phone Guy, and you wanna know what I just noticed?
Wait, you're not William Afton. You're internet personality Matthew Patrick.
Smoke bomb! It's either he clutches his team fight with no hands or he retreats. And I'm just saying, if he wasn't nerfed, I'm sure Phone Guy would have just ended the musical here, but that's just me. So of course, MatPat escapes. I'm going to go film the next episode of GT Live. What? Who could be playing this ignorant music? Gotcha! No, wait! Lizzie gets in control of the system and immediately scours the server for any trace of Vanny. Well, she didn't need to try that hard because Vanny has been practicing her dramatic entrances all day and was waiting for her time. Vanny wonders for what reason she has not to hit a Call of Duty finisher on her. You're just a human. You wouldn't understand me. Lizzie's like, okay, but consider the following. The ops are right there. What? Who invited him? Wait, is that my animatronic? This is where it all comes together. Let me break it down for you. Fake Vanessa creates Trash Gang. Fake Vanessa gets sent back to the lobby. Phone Guy throws them away. CG5 finds them, and then he gets sent back to the lobby. Now we're here. Also, CG5 is Michael Afton, Lizzie's brother, if I didn't make that apparent. Vanny questions what happened to her animatronics. Oh, thank you, well-placed flashback. The real enemy is clear. It's Glitch Trap. The only way to defeat him is if we lock his permissions, put him on parental mode to make sure he can't infect any more of the technology in the building. All that will be left is just a rogue AI inside a suit. They actually have a cool dialogue exchange here. I mean, I wish I could play it for you, but just know it boils down to
Swing. You swing. Nah, you first. You scared. Nah, you know what? Nah, you hacking.
A battle brews, and low-key, Vanny was cooking. It was just her against Glitch Trap and all his summons. And like Wanda in the movie that shall not be named, she embarrassed the opposition. Now that the minions were gone, it was time for the main boss fight, and someone must have screamed winner gets more screen time because Vanny was comboing him.
Money, 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 money.
She hit the weave. All the while, Lizzie was working hard on getting Glitch Trap out of the system. But unfortunately, Glitch Trap's lame ass had a lag switch. The entire time, he wasn't even trying, which is crazy because wasn't this you a second ago?
Ooh, that brother's floating in the air.
Bro got up like an anime character, talking about some.
This fight is getting interesting.
He activated his special ability, pulling the Ethernet cable, and Vanny starts lagging, allowing him to set up the iframe unblockable grab special. Now it's the time for Vanny's tag support to sub in. You know, maybe a little Lizzie, the animatronics. Shit, Scott Cawthon himself? Anyone? Okay. Even Glitch Trap was stalling. This is like kinda too easy. But he wasn't gonna wait forever for some plot convenience to come in. So instead, he just hits the most undeserved, unfair, zero to death move the Smash community has ever seen. He was low-key trying out for Dead by Daylight with a Memento Mori. Where Vanny fails, Lizzie succeeds as she's able to lock Glitch Trap out. But at this point, that means nothing. Vanny was sent to FNAF Plus, and with no one else around to stop Glitch Trap, it's over. He wins. Look at bro, he's posing for the camera. This is not an album cover. Yes, it's over. I mean, oh, shucks, man. It's over, man. Yeah, it isn't complete yet, and one could only wonder where they could take the story now. Vanny is dead, the animatronics are doing God knows what, and Corey Kenshin is still not dropping videos. But MKG is. We'll just have to see. And as for final thoughts, Dark Remains and Shadows of Agonies are really strong contenders when it comes to being top 5 in just music alone. Dark Remains had MatPat singing in it, so of course it's peak. At first I was a bit iffy on their story choices, but I genuinely believe their characterization of Glitch Trap and Vanny are better than how they're portrayed in the actual game. At the very least, they're more interesting. I like how just maniacally goofy Glitch Trap is, and while it would have been easy to just make him a caricature of a mustache-twirling villain, the lines he has in this musical are actually pretty good. Vanny, on the other hand, is the more cold and mysterious one, but I like how when the script calls for it, she can be just as snarky as Glitch Trap is. As far as the musical as a whole, initially I was not feeling it. It's like when they make a sequel to a franchise decades after the last one, hoping the IP alone could bring in some new money. That's pretty much how I felt about what I call the fillers. But when they actually started developing the plot, I started to hate it less, and by no means the successor to the original FNAF musical, but it does stand on its own as its own thing. And I think there's a lot more misses for songs in this bundle than the last one, but when they hit, they hit. The only flaw for me is that some of the characters, even the returning ones, just straight up aren't interesting, but that could just be me. Also, Lizzie is weird because not only is she just like a decent character, but I noticed they changed her actress in between episodes. They even went back to reshoot scenes for the recap sections just to gaslight the audience. And it worked until I realized her hairstyle was completely different. The only other nitpick is that it could seem like it's throwing a lot of stuff at you that have nothing to do with each other, but if you actually pay attention, a lot of the smaller moments are just plain in context for the bigger ones, even when it feels like there's nothing going on. But if you're going into this thinking this is going to emulate how you felt about the originals, make you feel like a kid again with unrestricted internet access again, then just pack it up, man. But yeah, here's the fridge, aka my improvised ranking on the musicals. As always, go check out the originals. I definitely skipped around certain scenes to make it more digestible for you guys, but do not think this is a supplement for watching the whole thing. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. It would mean a lot if you subscribed. Big things are coming. I hope you're there to see them.